Discard reading is not psychic power, it is not superstition, and it is not a fantasy mechanic for anime fans. Riichi Mahjong is an incomplete information game. That means every serious decision is made under uncertainty. You never know the full distribution of hidden tiles, but you are still forced to act. That is exactly why strong players rely on logic instead of emotion. Discard reading is a tool for reducing risk, not eliminating risk, reducing it. And among all defensive concepts, Suji is one of the most useful because it converts the Furi 10 rule into practical probability. Today, we break down the math of Suji, the logic behind Omote-Suji, Naka-Suji, Ura-Suji, and the situations where even a seemingly safe tile must be pushed anyway. Start with Omote-Suji, or outer Suji. If an opponent has discarded 4, then 1 and 7 are safe against a Riichi Men or two-sided weight in that suit. The logic is mechanical. If the opponent had 2, 3 and was waiting on 1 or 4, they cannot win on 4 anymore because they already discarded it. That hand is in Furi 10. If they had 5, 6 and were waiting on 4 or 7, the same thing applies. They also cannot win on 4. That means both Riichi Men patterns connected to 4 are dead, so 1 and 7 become safe against open-ended weights. This is not a guess, it is not a vibe, it is a direct consequence of the rules. The same pattern repeats everywhere. If 5 is discarded, 2 and 8 become Omote-Suji. If 6 is discarded, 3 and 9 become Omote-Suji. Next is Naka-Suji, or inside Suji. If both ends are visible, the inside tile becomes safe against Riichi Men weights. For example, if 1 and 7 are both discarded, then 4 is Naka-Suji. Why? Because a 2, 3 shape waiting on 1 or 4 is impossible once 1 has already been discarded. And a 5, 6 shape waiting on 4 or 7 is impossible once 7 has already been discarded. So both open-ended routes into 4 are blocked. Again, this only covers Riichi Men. It does not make 4 a 100% safe tile. It means one important class of weights has been eliminated. That distinction matters. Strong players do not confuse safer with safe. Now we move to Ura-Suji, or back Suji. This is different from Omote-Suji and Naka-Suji. Those are deductive. Ura-Suji is inductive. When a player discards a tile like 5, the dangerous shapes often remain nearby in a way that preserves efficient structure. That means tiles such as 1, 4, or 6, 9 become more suspicious depending on the development pattern. The exact point is not that these tiles are guaranteed to hit. The point is that the discard often reflects how inefficient tiles were cut away while strong shapes were preserved. So Ura-Suji is a probability signal. It says, this area of the suit has a higher chance of containing a live weight because the hand likely developed in a way that kept efficient blocks and removed the excess. This is the kind of logic advanced players respect, not certainty, weighted danger. Now we reach Aida Yonken, the between 4 tiles structure. If 1 and 6 are both discarded, the space between them, 2, 3, 4, 5, becomes extremely important. Why? Because the logic of 2 Ura-Suji patterns overlaps. One discard points danger inward from one side, the other discard points danger inward from the other side. When both signals converge on the same zone, the danger compounds. This is how professionals think about tile danger, not as isolated labels but as stacked evidence. One pattern is a warning, 2 patterns overlapping is a serious alert. 2 more advanced ideas raise danger even further, Dora-Suji and Anko-Suji. First, Dora-Suji. Tiles around Dora are naturally in higher demand because they connect to immediate hand value. Players stretch shapes more aggressively, keep flexible blocks longer, and accept worse efficiency in exchange for more value. That makes the Suji around Dora more dangerous than neutral tile logic alone would suggest. Second, Anko-Suji. Suppose you hold 3 copies of a tile in a concealed triplet. From your perspective, that tile is basically dead. But from the opponent's perspective, those copies are invisible. They do not know the tile is scarce. That creates a dangerous illusion. What is nearly exhausted in reality still looks live from outside. And when players believe a tile is live, they keep related shapes. So Anko-Suji is a reminder of a brutal truth in incomplete information games. The table reacts to visible information, not to reality. Now the blind spot. Even Omote-Suji can be dangerous, especially around the Riichi declaration tile. Imagine the opponent holds 1, 3, 5 in one suit. At 10 pi, they discard 5 and declare Riichi. A weak player looks at the 5 and thinks the surrounding Suji logic makes 2 feel safer. That is exactly how they deal in. The real weight is 2. This is Suji Hikkake, a direct trap. The declaration tile creates false comfort. The opponent appears to have removed one line of danger, but in reality they have set a trap that punishes automatic Suji thinking. This is why strong players never use Suji as a religion. It is a tool, and every tool has counterplay. This is the real heart of professional push, fold judgment. Suppose your opponent has discarded 2s and 8s. That makes 5s a Naka-Suji tile. Against a Riiyan men, it is safe, but it is not a 100% safe tile. A bad weight is still possible. Now look at your hand. You have 3 Dora as an Anko. Your hand value is massive, and the board gives you one more crucial fact. All 4 5M are visible. That means the opponent's value roots are restricted. They cannot realistically convert certain expensive shape combinations through that line. Their likely hand value is limited. In poker language, this is a capped range. Now the decision becomes simple. Yes, 5s can still lose, but if you deal in, the damage is probably small. If you fold, you surrender a hand with huge upside. That is not disciplined defense. That is burning EV. So the professional answer is clear. Push 5s. Mahjong is not a game where you avoid every loss. It is a game where you choose the line with the highest EV. Fear says fold because the tile is not perfectly safe. Math says push because your reward crushes the downside, and in high-level Mahjong, math wins. So here is the final principle. Suji is a defensive framework. It turns hidden information into structured probability. It helps you identify safer tiles, more dangerous zones, and distorted patterns around value. But Suji does not make the final decision. The final decision comes from EV, from the value of your hand, from the likely value of the opponent's hand, from whether the upside of winning outweighs the downside of a possible deal in. That is how professionals think. Not safe versus dangerous in a vacuum, but probability, damage, reward, and EV. Use Suji as your shield. Use EV as your compass. And when the numbers say push, you push.